This is your girl, Veleka B, founder and CEO of Set Apart and Chosen, and this is the Veleka B Project. I'm excited to be here with my good friend, my business partner, Marsha Jerman.
Hey.
And we are here to discuss last night, Friday, October the 13th, here in the ATL, the reunion tour with
Kirk
Kirk Franklin.
Franklin.
Yes. Who else was on that tour?
Oh my goodness. Tamala Mann, David Mann, the Clark sisters, Israel Houghton, Ty Tribbett.
It was good.
It was amazing.
So, what was your expectation going into it?
I think for me, given everything I'm in the midst of navigating through, for me, it was an opportunity to go attend a gospel concert and not work and have no affiliation with the actual execution of the project.
Right.
So for me, that was big for me to go in the main entrance, walk through and just really experience what the consumers experience when they come into a concert. So for me, it was rich in that, and just being able to walk through that was good for me.
Because you always behind the scenes, running, working with Donald Lawrence. You're always making sure that the background singers are good, the musicians, Donald, and everything else. So I know it was totally different for you to be in the presence and not just working.
Yeah, that was big for me. And I don't remember the last time I've done that.
Right.
I don't remember the last time I've done that in 25 years. I just don't remember
Right.
being able to just go sit at the concert and coming through the regular entrance, and it was great. So for me, that was the greatest experience. And I don't know that I had a lot of expectation outside of seeing these artists in, behind stage, backstages, or, around the country, and just, getting a chance to actually sit in front of them and experience their ministry. So I didn't have a lot of expectations, but when I got there, I was amazed.
Mm-hmm.
I was floored. They put a lot of thought into their presentation for this and making sure that it was not your average gospel concert.
Yeah. It was very organized.
It was organized. They were able to curate an experience for someone who just enjoyed music.
Right.
And it just so happened that it had the faith-based entity to it, but it was amazing. I didn't feel like it wasn't stuffy.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like it was an experience. I love the fact that you never knew where something was happening.
Right.
I love the configuration of the stage. It was laid out like a T. And it was amazing because you didn't know if somebody was coming out in the front of the
Right.
T or if somebody was at the bottom of the T on the other half of the stage. And it kept you on your feet. It was like going to a really great movie.
Right.
And not knowing what was going to happen next. So for me, I liked the fact that they kept me on my toes. I was constantly in anticipation of what was going to happen next. And at the same time, they curated some really great worship moments. So,
but who knew that Kirk Franklin could dance the way he danced last night?
Come on, Kirk Franklin took it all the way back.
James Brown's son.
All the way. All the way.
Mm-hmm.
He had a couple of Michael Jackson kicks in there. He was definitely bringing it with the choreography.
Yes.
And I thought that was great. That was very entertaining. And who would have thought David Mann? So first of all, I love the fact that Tamala's first, I don't want to say entanglement. That's a bad word. Her first collaboration with them was when she did Take It to the King. It was as a solo artist.
Right.
She did the thing for Kirk Franklin.
Right.
And so for me, the layout showed the growth and just the trajectory of relationships within the industry. And we just don't see a whole lot of that. So I love the fact how he positioned Tamala with David, like their marriage of 35 years, and they have children. They've done the family thing. They've done TV. They've done film.
Mhm.
with the shows that they do with Tyler Perry. And it just is very encouraging, even to marriages, that you can have a marriage in the business and to
Right.
watch how they've evolved as a
Right.
couple in the business, as a couple at home, and with their family.
Right.
And so just to watch their trajectory and to see them both, it was really great to see them both really contributing to the overall show.
But let's talk about the moment that David Mann was singing "He's Able." That was
Mm,
a emotional moment for me because I started Set Apart and Chosen back in January 2018. And on Facebook, that was the only page I had at the time. So on Facebook, the growth and the followers was so slow, to the point I was like, you know what? I don't know if this is what I should be doing.
right.
So one Friday night, last night was a Friday night. So one Friday night, I ended up posting David Mann. He's able. He was singing at a church, and woke up the next morning to a viral, sensational thing. It was crazy. Like, we jumped from a couple of hundred followers to like 300,000 followers
Wow.
overnight because of that. And that was just a moment for me that I was like, oh my God, I remember this moment now.
Wow.
Yeah.
There were a lot of moments last night. I loved the way Tamala backed up and supported the Clark sisters. She better go ahead and be an honorary Clark sister.
Right.
I just love the level of humility and the way they gelled together. That was everything for me. And I just feel like, my pastor always said this was the year of engagement. I love the fact that they were able to engage without mm, the egos,
Right.
to have one set of singers,
Right.
to have one band.
Mm-hmm.
We all know every artist is just in their space, they're in their vein. I need my singers, I need my band, I need my own sound engineer. So to see them come together, it was just amazing to me. And the fact that, you had the Clark sisters, who they are the ones who pioneered gospel and
Right.
into the mainstream.
Right.
They made gospel tangible,
Right.
not this churchy experience that I have to navigate through, judge people being judgmental, or I'm uncomfortable, or maybe I'm not ready to go that deep. They took music and they made it universal. They took music and said, "Hey, you can love Jesus or not,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
this music is going to be flawless, and you might just catch Jesus,
Right.
in the process of it.
Right.
They can plant a seed." So I love that. I love that. The synergy on the stage last night took me to a whole nother level. I love that.
Right. And I love the point that we went from the street, club, ratchet. Y'all know I love ratchetness.
Come on,
To
trap music.
worship, to churchy. Like, we had anybody was in the building. Like, if you was not saved, it make you want to go to church Sunday. If you were gonna get that from church, I want to go to church Sunday. It was so amazing. What do you like about the different types of the dancing and the worshiping, and how they gelled all of that to make it fit in the entire show?
For me, what was the greatest takeaway regarding that was that it was intergenerational.
Yes.
It was intergenerational. At the top of the show, they were asking people, Isaac and his crazy self,
Right.
was really opening the show. He just did an amazing
He
job.
did.
And he asked everybody, he was like, shout it out if you in your 30s, shout it out if you in your 40s, shout
Right.
it out if you in your 50s, woo, woo. And he went all the way and he said, we've never had a show where anybody was in their 90s.
Right.
And this lady was hollering at the top and she said, she's here, she's 95.
95.
And the people that were sitting behind us, they were in their 70s.
Right.
And they were just as fashionable and knowing all the songs and jumping up and dancing. But what took the cake was that this 95-year-old woman
Right.
was in the mezzanine, and she was just like, I'm here for it at
Right.
95.
Right.
And so the ability to have the different artists from different trajectories of music, it's all faith based. They've all done faith based. But the ability to bring, whether I had my 15-year-old there or my 95-year-old grandmother, there was not a moment that each of us wasn't able to curate this was great for me. And
Right.
so I think that they covered all the bases. And to me, that's hard to do in a concert.
Right.
So, and whether or not I was like really churchy, there was some, when we say churchy, we mean, it was those mothers on the row next to us,
Right.
and they sat down and they tapped their feet and they did the hand, on the knee, and it was good to them, but they weren't uncomfortable by Israel's rock moments. He gave us rock. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. So for me, they made it so that if you just didn't really know anything about gospel music, it provided a moment for you to understand it, for you to embrace it, for you to experience it with people from all different walks of life and who worship, but they helped us redefine it, right? Worship is different.
Right.
It's different for every generation. It's just different, every individual. And so even though there was a synergy, as far as faith goes, it was everybody worshiped differently, and there was something there for everybody.
But let me tell you what was funny. We were on the second row floor seats.
Yes.
The entire row was Seasoned Saints.
Yes.
That was funny.
We were on the Seasoned Saints row.
We was on the Seasoned Saints row.
I think we were there for encouragement. Clear encouragement.
That was funny. But guess what? One of the Seasoned Saints beside me, when they were Isaac was talking about if you came here with the heels, she showed me her heels. She said, I got my heels and it was 6 inches. And
God
I was
bless
like, oh
her.
my.
We live in another dispensation, everybody.
Right.
Because I had on my Converse high tops. And I just don't feel like that's the one blessing that the pandemic brought.
Right.
I don't know. I think that there is a remnant of women that are
Right.
like praising God for the
Right.
pandemic as it related to what it did for our feet. Come on.
Right.
It gave us the liberty
Right.
and the freedom.
Mhm.
I think, come on, we are free in our feet right now.
Right.
I can have on sequins, anything,
Mhm.
and put on some cute sneakers. Now, I'm not the best choice. Thank God for stylists in the building. Shout out to Elijah.
Right.
Right? Because you can't get here and do nothing
Right.
without an Elijah, right? But I got news for you. Them sneakers is everything. And he was right to point that out because there were a lot of people walking around in them heels. How you coming to an arena concert in some heels? God bless you.
Listen,
But did you see all them steps?
they worked it out though.
They worked it out.
They worked it out.
Amen. God bless them.
For me and my house,
Me and my house.
I always be the Jordans.
Come on.
Like crazy.
All about the sneaker.
Let's talk about Israel.
Israel. So you know what I love about Israel? He has this song, Take the Limits Off. And that song just embodies everything about him.
Right.
He has never been limited.
Right.
He is not limited by race.
Right.
We can't figure out, is he black? Is he white? We have no clue.
Yeah.
So he's not limited by race.
Mm-hmm.
And he's never allowed anybody to put him in a box.
Yep.
And I love that about Israel. So much to the point where Israel said, you know what? I'm not going to do a recording in the United States. Hello, somebody. I'm going to Africa.
Right.
How about I'm leaving the country?
Right.
And I feel like when you have trendsetters and trailblazers who do that,
Mm-hmm.
who, whatever's going on in their life and their minds, they take that bold move and they say, I'm going to step out. I'm going to go do something absolutely crazy,
Mm-hmm.
even if I got to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it sets an entirely different trend. Then it became to the labels like, wait a minute, this is a thing now.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not limited just because we are United States citizens. We are not limited to recording in the United States, because
Right.
there's something about when you go over and you cross continent,
Right.
something about worship in Africa
Mm-hmm.
that is so intense. And so even though they love the way Americans worship,
Mm-hmm.
that Israel, he's just a trendsetter.
He is.
He's such a trendsetter.
Mm-hmm.
He gave us rock last night.
He did.
I know some people were like, I don't even know what that is. And others were like, I didn't know that I like rock. I used to work at ASCAP and
Mm-hmm.
we dealt with, rock music.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in there and I was just like, yes, give it to me, Israel. He took you from worship into rock. And wait a minute, I will retract that. He took us into a realm of music. To
Mm-hmm.
some may have defined it as rock, but some of us, it was just rock, but it was worship. We were
Mm-hmm.
worshiping with rock music.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. I
Right.
loved it.
Right. It was amazing. I was at the point because I was working. I was trying to work, but when he
You're
came
always
on,
working, Veleka
I
B.
I know. But when he came on, I was like, that worship, I had to throw that phone down. I was like,
Yes.
forget that. I can't. I cannot.
Israel
amazing.
takes you in.
He does.
And I love about Israel, Israel still does, he's still the worship leader for Christian Cultural Center in Brooklyn,
Right.
New York. He still serves as like a worship guy at the church. He comes in and does praise and worship. And I wonder sometimes like what keeps him grounded.
Right. Right.
Because there's not a lane that he's driven in that he hasn't excelled in. And he's just always grounded, never without an opportunity to give us worship.
Right. So let's start to wrap this up. So we haven't touched on Ty yet.
Ty Tribbett.
Yes.
You know what? I have a whole new respect for Ty.
Yes.
Knowing Ty personally is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing him as a gospel artist is another. And I said this to texted to Calvin. I was like, I really just need to tell Ty, like, he preached a message about the shaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a whole new respect for him as a preacher. He brought
Right.
that word. So it ministered to me in a very low place when I was at a very low place. So when he was on stage, I look at him differently.
Uh-huh.
But he comes, I don't even know how old Ty is now, but he is for, when I tell you, he is for the trap music. He is for the younger generation. And he pushes those of us who know we good in our 50s.
Right. Right.
To act like we in our 20s.
Right.
And I love it. He keeps me young.
Right.
Like, let me worship and get my good groove on. Y'all know I love to dance. So he kept me in my groove. And I love that about him, because in the middle of him moving, and then he'll stop and he'll take you into a worship. He represents the versatility in how we worship. I love Ty Tribbett.
Right. So did we touch on everyone? The Clark sisters?
We didn't talk. Well, we talked a little bit about the Clark sisters. Twinkie Clark is a legend. I love Karen. I love Dorinda. I love Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
Even Niecy, she wasn't there. But let me tell you, that Twinkie Clark is a doggone legend if I've ever seen one.
Yes.
And I just appreciated everything she brought to the performance. So overall, it was just synergistically, it was a home run. It was a home run for the faith. It was a home run for the gospel. It was just a home run for whoever produced it. It was definitely a home run for the body of Christ. I appreciated it.
Awesome. So would you recommend this concert to others?
Absolutely. It was a night out on a Friday.
Right.
Come on. In ATL.
Right.
And ATL showed out. It was sold out.
Sold out. Showed out.
Now ATL, we all showed up a little late though.
The traffic. It wasn't us.
It was
the
traffic.
Yeah.
But come on, Atlanta. I'm from New York. I mean, Atlanta's traffic.
We're not used to that on a Friday. And it was raining.
Ooh. But you know what? 20 minutes into the concert, Atlanta was in full effect. There was not an empty seat in that arena.
Right. Right.
That was great. And to know that we can still pack out arenas with the gospel. Come on, we made a statement.
We really honestly need to support gospel music. We're not supporting like we should. We're not.
I believe that.
We're not supporting to the point where artists, and there's nothing wrong with being worship leaders. There's nothing wrong with having a job, but they really put so much money into their projects, and we don't support.
I think that this concert, the reunion concert,
Mm-hmm.
created an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
for a family, a date night. I mean, I flew in. It was a girls' night,
She
right?
flew in.
I just think that they created an opportunity for us to go out and enjoy a concert. And it was gospel. And I didn't feel like I needed to dress like I was going to church.
Mm-hmm.
I really felt like I went out to absolutely an amazing concert.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they gave us something to support.
Okay.
I think you got to give me something
Right.
to
Right.
bring me out and support it.
Okay. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this segment of the
Thank you.
Veleka B Project with my bestie, my business partner, Marsha Jerman. Thank you so much for coming in from Jersey. Like, that meant the world to me. So until next time, this is the Veleka B Project, and we are out.